Thank you. It felt like a mile relay running down here. Get this baton from you. We'll be wandering around the room here. So the first thing that let's talk about is what's going on around the country. You know, you're seeing these conservative gatherings that are building up across party lines. It's not just happening in other states. Last night we were over in Carlsbad. Carlsbad is always a pretty Democrat town. We were there. It was advertised as dinner for conservatives, and both Democrats, Republicans, and Independents. We were asked to keep our comments off of the partisanship and about the conservative principles of the country, and over 300, and I would guess 350 people showed up at that. So it is everywhere. People are saying we've got to get away from the things that are killing the country and come together as Americans, and I believe that's what's going on. That's at the heart of the Tea Party movement. They're not strictly Republican, they're not strictly Democrat, they're not independent. They're people of all parties coming together and saying that we have to do the things to correct the country, put us on the right track. We were just down at the paper here in town, and again, papers always ask, well, what's it going to take to get the economy going? Well, the main thing it's going to take is certainty, both tax certainty and also regulatory certainty. You all have seen the regulations kill the timber industry that used to be right here in this town. That's an example of how regulatory uncertainty keeps our economy from growing. But also the tax uncertainty, the cap and trade vote that Mr. Teague took is a huge problem for the economy because people are holding cash back, afraid that that's going to get implemented. And so about a month ago, the president complained that companies are holding cash. They've got too much cash. Like it's an accusation against them for doing it, that they owe it to everybody to go out and create jobs. Well, companies create jobs when they feel like they can get their money back out of their investment plus a little bit of return on their investment, and that's what creates jobs. Nothing else. The stimulus did not create jobs, will not create jobs. If they have another stimulus, it won't create jobs. In fact, the last one drove us up from, 7.5% unemployment to 10%. I hope they don't stimulate us too much more and drive us to 12% unemployment. So it's not going to create jobs. It takes private capital invested in expanding businesses. That's what creates jobs. So let's get our minds right. Everybody is, I think that's the key issue of the race. What's it going to do? What's it going to take to start our economy back? And is the country too far gone down this path of socialism, down this path where the president is buying private companies with public money? That should not have occurred. GM should not have been bought by the federal government, and they should have been allowed to work their way through the system. They would never have shut down operations. They would have simply recalculated the cost structure of that business. Everybody wants to know about the campaign. It's going to be a very close campaign. I remind people that we're in a 34% Republican district, and we're running against an incumbent. And they have just sent in about somewhere close to $1 million worth of ads supporting the other side. And they sanded some support away from us, but Mr. Teague's polls showing us 6 points back simply weren't factual. The Albuquerque Journal and our polls were very close. Then it's a very tight race, and it's going to end up a very tight race. The nice thing is that we're in a position now to start fighting back. We're holding our money until we can buy all the way to Election Day. You're seeing our ads on TV now, I hope. And if not, we better check those the guys in Albuquerque because we are buying TV. So now that we're able to fight back, we're able to give our points of view. I think you're going to see some of that support that eased away in the last 6 weeks began to come back over because everybody wants to know what to do about the economy, and they know that the Democrat solutions of taxing more money and spending more money are not going to work. So the race will come down to individuals talking to their friends and neighbors. It's going to be a very close race, and so I'm asking you today, please start talking to people. The value of what you say to your neighbors is extraordinarily important. Many people are never involved in politics, but they know that you come to these meetings like this. And so as we go toward Election Day, they're going to ask, what do you think? And the power of your ability, the power of your words has tremendous ability to sway opinions. So just let's not lose our focus, let's not grow weary. I believe that we've got a tremendous slate of candidates. Susana Martinez was last night in Carlsbad. I was there. we had Diana Duran, we had Matt Chandler. What a great group of candidates we are putting up this time. You all have candidates here. So a year and a half ago, they were saying the Republican Party it's just gone, and it's not going to be able to resurrect itself. But always there's a truism in politics that when you're ahead, you're never quite as far ahead as you think you are, and when you're behind, you're never as far behind as you think you are. And this election shows that to be true. Across the nation, people are just insistent that we begin to curb the power of government. The government is taking away freedoms, the government is taking away our jobs, and that's what people are angry and frustrated about. They're anxious because they see our prosperity dissipating, see our prosperity disappearing. They see that our government actually has a war on prosperity, has a war on our job market, and that's what is causing people anxiety. The anxiety will dissipate and we're going to be in fine shape, but we need to make the right decisions this fall, and then we need, as a governing group, to go and make the right decisions in Washington. To that point, we had Mr. Boehner come to Las Cruces sometime last week, had a very compelling point that I think his statement is that we're going to keep this movement out among the people alive. That's what people are hungry for. They're hungry for being empowered. They're hungry for having some input and impact into the system. So we're excited about the potential of the election. We feel good about it, but we need your work all the way to election day. Let's not let up at this point. We mainly came here to take questions, and so we were in a Q&A session over yesterday. Actually, we had a little Q&A session over in Las Cruces yesterday morning. If you got a chance to hear that on the radio, we enjoyed that. And then we went over to Carlsbad, did a Q&A session with probably about 50 or 60 veterans over there. Again, it's one of the key issues in this race, so we're looking forward to it. But let's go to questions here today. Thank you for having me in, so appreciate it. Okay, well, that's good. I appreciate it. Oh, well, here we are. We did get one. I was afraid we didn't have one. We'll go one, and Hans will take you next.
The question I had is one that you answered before, I believe. But, we just moved here. We've only been here 2 months, and I'm a retired Air Force. And I've heard from some veterans, not only on this group, but when I played golf at the golf course, that Teague supports veterans better than we do. How do you respond to that?
I would say that it's just totally inaccurate. If you're watching the ad on TV right now, it's a group of veterans that I didn't go and find them. They came and found me. It said, we have been this office, we've asked him for help, and it's nothing like the help that you got when you were here. One of the things that we did for our veterans here is not just give lip service to it. Many of the bills that Mr. Teague put in have only 3 or 4 or 5 co-sponsors that are being sent off to committee. But what we did is say, okay, both parties are going to either fund or not fund at some level. Both are going to give lip service to it. But what we can do as an individual congressman is support the veterans in their outreaches to the clinics and in their outreaches to the hospital. So we began to ask the administrator, the head guy at the Albuquerque Veterans Hospital to come here into the 2nd District once a quarter. He brought his chief of staff, and we would sit him in groups of veterans. We would invite veterans, just open meetings from all across the district. We began to take care of problems that veterans have been complaining about for decades. The problems of driving 3 hours or 6 hours all the way to Albuquerque and finding out they had canceled your appointment. Just those fundamental administrative things. There was a list of about 25 things that were recurring that we continue to work on. A second thing I say is that we were able to produce a list of about 27 major actions on veterans that we either supported or we helped pass. And it just, I hear the lip service coming from the other side, but I don't see the output.
Can I just say this? When I asked them to give me a specific thing that Teague had done for them, they could not identify.
Yeah, they can't identify it because what they do is they get the word that Teague is really good for veterans, and he comes around and he shakes hands. Well, it takes a lot more to get a government bureaucracy to act than to shake hands around with the constituents. You have to be out in the meetings, so we were in meetings with the Forest Service here in this town saying, you're putting our communities at risk up there in Ruidosa and Cloudcroft. You need to start cutting trees. You actually see some of the output of that afterwards. We were sitting with the National Park Service saying you can't abuse the people that come in, you can't use your arrogant position with the contractors there. So it was our style